start tonight with a story which may be difficult for you to listen to, but affects so many people. We're talking about domestic violence and the powers given to police and the courts to stop it. Now, one thing that they can do is issue domestic violence protection orders or non-molestation orders or even a restraining order. The idea is to intervene with offenders to stop the abuse getting worse. They can prevent an abuser returning to a house or having contact with someone. But victims have told us that these orders aren't being taken seriously by the police. Now, it's a criminal offence to breach some of these orders, but according to figures we've uncovered, in the last few years, a fifth of DVPOs are being broken. But at the same time, the number of sentences for offenders breaching some of these orders has dropped by almost a fifth. Pretty Mystery has this exclusive story about the effect it's having on people being abused and the calls for tougher measures to tackle offenders. You might find some of the details of the abuse disturbing.
I had a miscarriage and then lost the baby. Had 6 blood transfusions over 2 days as a result of violence he inflicted on me.
Victoria, not her real name, is from Yorkshire. She's had 3 non-molestation orders issued against her ex-husband, but she says he breached every one of them. Her words are spoken by an actor.
I had to uproot my life and move. I shouldn't have to do that. I should be protected. There's been no support from any professionals, and the police didn't take the order seriously.
Not worth paper they're written on. There's no deterrent at all for a perpetrator to breach them numerous times, over and over again.
Last year, Deborah Jones set up a support group in Barnsley to help victims of domestic violence, including this woman, who we're calling Kath.
I've no support from anywhere, and there's no understanding from police either. When I ring up, it takes them days to get back to me, or weeks.
She's had a non-molestation order in place since December after she left her husband following 9 years of physical and coercive abuse.
It's a constant fear and high anxiety all the time. I can't have windows open in the house. It's not a life, it's just an existence.
The Independent Domestic Abuse Services, based in York, led a review in 2018 which found the way authorities worked left significant safeguarding black holes.
In the first 6 to 12 months after somebody leaves a relationship, that can be when the most domestic homicides happen. And I think traditionally we think, well, once they leave the relationship, they'll be safe, whereas actually what happens is that risk can elevate as the perpetrator begins to lose control. So we need everybody to have a really detailed understanding of that and act urgently on breaches.
Recent data shows about a fifth of the domestic violence protection orders issued by courts have been breached in Yorkshire every financial year between 2019 and 2021. That's despite the numbers granted rising by about a quarter in the same period. There's also been a 17% drop in sentences for breaching restraining orders between 2019 and 2021.
The National Police Chiefs Council say there needs to be improvements right across the board, but accept that they need to do better.
I am so sorry that they have not had the service they should expect and deserve from policing so far, but we are working on this. This is a huge priority for policing, and we are really clear that we expect officers to take positive action.
But for Deborah, she wants action, not apologies.
Things need to change. There needs to be tougher consequences. If an order is breached, perpetrators should be tagged. Surely when women are enduring violence and being murdered, it should, for me, be on as high a risk as terrorism.
Pretty Mystery, BBC Look North, Barnsley.
Let's hear now from Noga Offer. She's from the Centre for Women's Justice, an organisation that challenged discrimination in the justice system around male violence against women and girls. Earlier I asked her if she was reassured by the police apology that we just heard there.
Well, what we've been hearing consistently from domestic abuse support organisations around the country is that when women report breaches of protection orders, particularly non-molestation orders, the police don't respond very swiftly and sometimes don't respond at all. And one of the things that we're really concerned about is that we made a super complaint which recommended that police need a lot more training on protection orders, but the NPCC reply to that was to say that the police are doing a set of training called DA Matters, but unfortunately we know that DA Matters doesn't actually include protection orders, so we're really concerned that there isn't actually action being taken to improve.
You're saying
this
despite
training.
that super complaint that you've put in, nothing's changed to help these women?
Well, it remains a really serious problem, and we've seen that the numbers of prosecutions for breaches has been going down, but we're also hearing that the problem of women reporting breaches and then seeing nothing happening as a result is still a major problem, and we haven't seen anything concrete that's been done or reported by the NPCC to change that.
It sounds like domestic violence against women isn't being taken seriously enough. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, there's lots of sort of general statements about how it is a high priority, but the problem is that it doesn't seem to be a priority on the ground. When women report, quite often police officers see it as a trivial matter, particularly around breaches, or there are not the resources to respond adequately. So it's whether those sort of general statements are actually put into practice.
What would you like to see happen so that women do feel safe?
Well, first of all, we want all police officers who work on the front line and come into contact with survivors of domestic abuse to have basic training about what the different protection orders are and what they should do when they're breached. And we don't think that is happening at the moment. We also want the courts to communicate orders directly to the police, because lots of the time the family courts grant the orders, but the police don't know about them, and so women have to sort of carry paper orders around to be able to show to police officers. So we need a system that actually sort of efficiently responds to the way these orders are supposed to work.
Noga Offer from the Centre for Women's Justice, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
We have some breaking news to bring you now. A 15-year-old boy is in a critical condition.